welcome back to my channel. If you are new, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm your host, Favorite. I use they, them pronouns, and I am so excited for today's video. If you're returning, thank you so much for coming back. I really do appreciate you. Let's get into today's video. So, happy Disability Pride Month, and I hope you are accommodating yourself like I need to, and I hope you have a great one. This video is going to be on all the books that I finished in June. I managed to read 8 books, which is my best month so far this year, and I'm really happy with that. I did know in January that from June my reading is going to pick up a lot more because it's summer. So I'm really happy that I managed to read 8 books. It's not as previous years, but it's okay, and I'm just happy that I was able to finish more than I have so far. Before I begin talking about my books that I finished, I do want to plug my social medias. I have a TikTok where I post fun videos, an Instagram where I post fun pics, a Twitter where I post fun retweets. I also have a Goodreads where I post fun book reviews, and a Pinterest where I post fun boards, all linked in the description box down below. If you want to give me a follow, thank you in advance. And now let's get into today's video. So I got into graphic novels this month, and I have really enjoyed the ones I've been reading. So Past Me is going to talk about the books that I read this month, and I'll see you at the end. So I got into graphic novels this month, and so the first one I finished was Avatar: The Last Airbender, and this one's called The Promise. And this one takes place a year after the TV show where they're trying to remove the Fire Nation colonies out of the Earth Kingdom and rehome them back into the Fire Nation. And they come into some problems. Zuko is really trying to be the best Fire Lord he can be, and is really struggling because he knows his family history and stuff, and trying to overcome that. And so there's a problem that happens, he goes to the Earth Kingdom Udao, I hope I said that right, and sees that the Fire Nation and the Earth Nation people have really formed this close-knit community of people, and seeing that it would be wrong to separate them. Even though it's not a perfect community, the Fire Nation still has a bit more power, and you can see that their dynamic in the book. But he's it would be wrong to separate them, especially since the mayor of the village, the colony, he married an Earth Nation woman, and they have a fire-bending child, and her cousins are earthbenders. So there's earthbenders and firebenders in the same family, and so it would be wrong to separate them. And so he decides that, okay, this is a bad idea. Separating the colonies, we're not doing that, because the colonies have been in the Earth Kingdom. Some of them have been there for hundreds of years, and so he decides not to do it. And when Avatar Aang finds out, he's upset, and he's going back on his word. We said we're going to get the Fire Nation out, and he tries to get them to figure out a better solution. He wants the Fire Nation out, and Zuko's I'm not taking my people out of this city. And this city's the example, I feel and they're trying to figure out a better way to so the 4 nations can live in harmony again. And the story is really good, and it does have 3 different stories going on, which I was not used to doing. So it's just getting used to okay, so first we're doing this, and then we're gonna go to this one, and then this one. But the visuals kind of help you figure out which story we're doing at the moment. And of course, like the characters, you can see the characters visually, but just like flipping the page, it's like, oh, we're in a different setting, kind of thing. But the story is really nice, and you really feel like you're watching the cartoon. You feel like you're watching it, like, and so because you feel like you're watching it in your head, if you could see visual, if you have visual, you actually like, oh yeah, I'm actually seeing it, and the pictures do help give you the visual of what's going on in the story. But I kind of like became an animator in my head and just like turned the picture into a full scene, and it was really beautiful, and I really enjoyed this book. 5 stars. Totally recommend if you haven't already read it. So the second book I finished in June is another graphic novel. I love Descendants, and so when I found out they had graphic novels, I decided to check them out. So the first one I read was Isle of Lost. And this one is basically a prequel to the first movie, like how the group actually formed. And because of that, we just really get to see each character in how they kind of became in the group. So the story starts off with Mal being 6 and wanting to go to a party, but she wasn't invited, and so the party gets disrupted because her mom's like, okay, you didn't get invited to a party, no more party. Evie gets banished, and so the story kind of starts off with Evie being the new kid at the school because it's been 10 years, and Mal decides to throw a party and doesn't invite Evie, then changes her mind, and Mal. And during that, after the party, Carlos does something, and it opens like the dome, and Evie, no, sorry, and then I don't remember the name of the crow, but the crow, Maleficent's crow shows up and says, like, I was frozen in time, like he was frozen in time because of, like, that's the way the story goes, in this universe. He was frozen in time, and I know where her scepter is, and so Maleficent tells Al to go get it, and so she like enlists Jay because she's like, oh, I have a perfect plan, because the party thing, not that evil. It's not that evil. So, if someone touches the first person, like person who touches the scepter, has to sleep for like 1,000 years or 100 years or something. And so she's like, okay, I'm gonna enlist the help of Evie. I'm gonna get Evie to help me and have her touch the scepter, and she'll leave her to sleep for 100 years. And that's way more evil than what I planned. The party thing, child's play. So Evie is like, because Evie is in the area where she's telling Jay her like plan, kind of. And it's like, oh, are you talking about like the dome? Like, I know what happened with the dome. Carlos did it. And so that's how Carlos gets roped into helping them on their adventure to get the scepter. The story is really nice. I give it 4.5 stars. I took out like half a point because the story is really nice, and like the outfits like very. I don't know if the story came, like the graphic novel came after the movies, or if this is how it was always supposed to be, but the art style is not like my favorite. It's still good, it's still readable, it's still enjoyable. The art style is just not my favorite. So I took off half a point for that. It's still a really good story, and I really enjoyed it. And so, yeah, you get to see their group forming, and I really liked that. So if you haven't checked it out, I definitely recommend you check out this graphic novel as well. So the next graphic novel I finished in the month of June was The Search is another Avatar story, and this story focuses on Zuko, Azula, Katara, Sokka, and Aang searching for Zuko and Azula's mother. You get the backstory of Zuko and Azula's mother, and what led up to her leaving, and how they try to find her. Azula goes through a lot. She's been in a institution for like a year and some change, and so she's really had a lot of time to think, and she really blames her mother for a lot of what has happened to her, why she lost her friends, what went down with her, why her and Zuko aren't close, and things like that. So she really goes through a lot, and I really do sympathize with her, like, because she is a kid who experienced trauma, and she lost her parents, essentially. One parent left, and one of them is now in jail, and she doesn't get to see any of her family. And Zuko wants to change that. He wants to become like more, and so he asks her help in finding their mom, and she has a condition that she wants to go, but she wants to be able to move freely and with dignity. And so he agrees, and they set off on an adventure together. And I really like the story because you really get to see why the mom left, and why Zuko's dad treated him so terribly, and you really feel for the characters in it. And I gave it 5 stars because I thought it was beautifully written, and I liked how the story has progressed. And if they ever make it into a reboot TV show, I can't wait to see how it all plays out. But yeah, 5 stars, definitely recommend. So the next book I finished in June was Touchdown Baby by Tabatha Kiss. And so, okay, so I'm basically gonna just like say what it's about. So it is about a girl whose dad's like is a very famous football player. He's retired now, and he's supposed to be coaching a team that's not very good, and he's like, I'm gonna bring them to the next level and things like that. And tells his daughter that if you want me to pay for your school, you have to come with me so that we can be one big happy family. So she has to transfer her school to the school he's going to be coaching at, and meets the footballers, and the quarterback catches her eye, and he's like, don't date any of my football players, I don't want them being distracted, and I want them to focus on the goal. And he tells his team that, he tells her that, and Junior does not care. He's willing to risk it, is what he's basically saying. Basically does. And their relationship starts off a little rocky, but their back and forth banter is adorable. I love it. I really liked their dynamic because like they both like didn't want anything serious, and they were just like doing like they were just being casual, but like, you know, it kind of I think it really changed. Their shift is like when he needed like help with his math class, and she tutored him, and he was like, I'll do anything. She's like, you'll do anything? He's like, I'll do anything. And she's like, wow, I have to get back to you on that. And her thing was that he had to help her learn lines for the like competition or like the play. I'm pretty sure it's the play. And so like they ran lines and they did like study together, and it was really cute. And he actually like helped her enough and started memorizing. He memorized the whole like the play. He memorized the play. And so when things go down, he shows like professes his love by doing that scene, and it was really cute. I really liked it. I gave it 4 stars because I really liked the book. Now, I will say, if you like college romances, you'll like this book. If you like sports romances, you'll love this book. If you don't like the pregnancy trope, you're not gonna like this book. I don't mind that trope. I will read it time and time again and not get tired of it. If you don't like it, you're not gonna like this book. The reason why I took off points was because of the dad. Now the dad's supposed to be like whatever. The way he responded when he finds out everything, terrible. 0 out of 10. And then like he kind of, I don't know what happens, if he just disappears or something, I don't know. But he's like gone. And but then he comes back like a year later, almost a year later, and she just forgives him. I was like, what? What? Did you forget? And sure, she is like a kid now, so she's like more, I don't know. But I didn't like that part, and so that's why I took off points. Because of the way, the extreme, like he didn't have to be happy with what happened, but he went to the extreme level and said very heinous things, and then she went around and just forgave him automatically. Now I'm not saying you don't need to forgive. You don't need to forgive. But you don't need like immediately after they apologize, accepting the apology. And that's what she did. And just like accepted and like, I forgive you, this is my kid. And I was like, that's where I had a problem with the book. That part. But yeah, that was my take on that book. So the next book I finished was only part 1, and I want to give a full review of it after doing part 2 and 3, because it ends on a cliffhanger. So it's and the other books are kind of like a set. The library didn't have it as a set, so I just have to read the first one and then the second one and the third one, and I'm gonna finish the first one. The Avatar, The Last Airbender, The Rift Part 1 is what I finished, and this starts with in Yu Dao, where the Fire Nation and the Earth Nation are like, there's a new government taking place so that it's even playing field. I don't know. Their new government, and so they're celebrating that. And the Avatar Young Chin shows up to Aang and doesn't say anything, but basically is trying to allude that something's wrong, and that she basically like needs his help, kind of thing. And so like there is a Young Chen festival that takes place, and where the air nomads, like a very sacred place for them, and so they travel and they take some of the like Avatar and what are they called? Some of his club members with him, so they can like celebrate Yang Chen. And so like, and when he gets there, there is a city on their sacred land, and he's very upset about this and tries to talk to whoever's in charge, and ends up in a cliffhanger. Like something like happens, and then they end up in a cliffhanger. it ends in a cliffhanger kind of thing. They don't like solve or anything. So I don't really have much thoughts on it. I just like wanted to say that I finished reading it. It's going pretty well. Very interesting, and yeah, can't wait to finish part 2 and 3 so I can get my full thoughts on the book. Yeah. Now, the next book that I finished, I haven't technically finished. I'm at 91%, but the book is wrapping up, and I could give my final thoughts on it. And it is called PowerHouse, Power Chain 1 by Chelsea Cameron and Ryan Michelle. It's a very dark aesthetic book, so if you can't see it, I'm sorry. So this book is about he's not really a mafia leader. So it's like, I don't know what like his category is. I would say more black market kind of deal. Yeah, I would say that's the best way to describe it. It's very mafia vibes, but it's not mafia. And he has a client, and the client, I don't know what the client did to upset him, but he was going to stop their deal. And their deal was very important to them, and so he takes the client's sister as collateral, and just for like 6 weeks, and she's not happy with this, obviously, and that's what the book's about. Now, as we get into the book, we kind of learn things about the pieces of the puzzle kind of come together as the book goes on. Like, he has actually been obsessed with her for years, at least 5 years, if not 6, about 5 to 6 years. He's been obsessed with her, and it's because of information. I don't know if I want to spoil all of it, but he has been obsessed with her for years, and is a very, very significant reason behind it. And so as the client came into his lap, fell into his lap, and the client, the family, the guy and the girl, husband and wife, the wife is related to the girl he's been obsessed with, woman he's been obsessed with, and so he's like, oh, this is a perfect opportunity to enact the thing I've been thinking about for years. And so he accepts the clients, and I don't know if the plan was to just be upset by them and just like use her as collateral kind of thing, or they actually did something to upset him, and then he was like, perfect opportunity to use her as collateral. And I will say, this book, okay, I don't even know how to scale it, 1 to 10, 1 to 5 dark, but there are dark aspects. I would definitely check your triggers within the book. There's violence, there's I think that's like the big one, but there are other ones that I would definitely check out before going into reading this book. But yeah, I enjoyed the book. I will give it a 4 out of 5, I think. When was the thing that would take off points? I don't know. And I really enjoyed it, actually. I have all these library books, and instead of reading them, I read this one. So it kept my attention, and so yeah. So the next book I finished is another graphic novel, and this one, I'm already going to say it's 5 stars. Okay, so I love vampires, as you can kind of see from my background, like 1, 2, 3. I love vampires. So I saw this book at the library. It's Fangs by Sarah Andersen. and it is a graphic novel about a werewolf and a vampire falling in love. That simple. It's like these two, but for adults. So if you like Dracula and Claude, this is the adult version of it. There's a parasol because she can't be out in the sun. She can't see her reflection. And he turns into a werewolf during the full moon, and they hang out and they like watch they were like, let's watch something relaxing, and then they put on like give me 1 second. I don't remember the name of the show. The Twilight Zone. Like, let's just watch something relaxing, and they're just watching the Twilight Zone, and they watch like horror shows, like just chilling out together, like Netflixing, and just chilling out on the couch. And like, he can always tell when it's a full moon because when he shaves, it's like his beard grows back, like in Santa Claus. And so they hang out, and it's just really cute. I really like this book. Low stakes. There's like nothing like popping out or anything like that. It's a fun read, and I definitely recommend reading this book. So yeah. Okay, so the next book I finished is another graphic novel. I've been reading a lot of graphic novels in June. So the next one is The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan. I hope I'm saying that right. It's the Percy Jackson and the Olympians. So you can kind of see the thing. So it is about a 12-year-old who finds out that his dad is a god, and he's been accused of stealing not only Zeus's lightning bolt, but also Hades' like helm, just like a helmet. And so he has to, well, they think Hades stole it, so they went to Hades to get it back, but it turns out he didn't take it. He was also missing something, and it kind of shows like their adventure where they're being 12-year-olds like trying to get across the country, which is very different from the movie. Because I watched the movie first, because I didn't even know there were books. Very different from the movies. But yeah, my thoughts on it. I gave it 4 stars because I liked it. Okay, so the thing I liked about it was that Hades was not like the villain. I think it's kind of tired to just make the god of death or any god like that the evil character. It's been done a lot, and in this one he's not. Now I've read other Hades and Persephone books, so it's like different sides of it, but this one is like a children's book, and Hades is not the villain, which I just appreciated. So cool. Yeah, but that is all for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up if you would like. Subscribe if you want to. Hit the bell notifications to be notified when I upload. I try to upload twice a week. My social medias are all linked in the description box down below, and give me a follow. And I would like you to comment either a book that you finished during June that you enjoyed, or a book in July that you will hope to finish within the month. And yeah, I want to see what everybody else is reading. I just find it interesting. I myself have an entire like stack of graphic novels that I got in June that I didn't get through. So we have the Pride and Prejudice one that I'm really enjoying. I have the Clamor for Glamour. I have this one actually for my sister, so I'm not counting this one. Marvel Rising. We have some more superhero ones. We have Spider-Woman. It's a Spider-Verse, which is kind of cool. And then we have the Amazing Spider-Man, which is also like the Spider-Verse, which I'm pretty sure this is Gwen. Haven't read them yet. I also have Suri, The Search for Black Panther, which I'm very excited about. And I of course am reading part 2 to the Avatar, The Rift, and I need to finish Return to the Isle of the Lost this month. So yeah, that is all that I am reading or trying to get through this month. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, drink some water, eat a snack, play with a fidget toy, enjoy the rest of your day. Bye!